All right, we are rolling. This is our 10-month update.
We're missing 7 of them.
No, not necessarily. We've done them periodically
Just
as
not
we're doing videos.
not as often as we wanted to.
Well, I did the 9-month update and then I got corrupted, and then because I did it at night, I didn't redo it because it was like 20 minutes. But his 10-month, Bellamy's 10-month was yesterday, March 16th. Today is March 17th. It is my birthday. So we just wanted to kind of update everybody on his progress. I know he's got a following both on Facebook, somewhat Instagram, and definitely YouTube. Trying to upload videos as we go. There's plenty of other videos that have not been uploaded yet that I may upload in the future or just not upload either. So let's get into it. Okay.
Give me a topic.
So we are brushing his teeth. He's got 5 teeth.
He's got 5 teeth, 2 on the top, 3 on the bottom. He looks like a buck tooth, kind of like a rabbit. It's kind of cute. The one on, this side, so it's this side, is lower, and then the 2 are a little higher. So people say that the first ones to roll in are the bottom and then the top. So he's got the 2 here, and then these 2 are still coming in, but they're broken, so they're just getting bigger. And then this one's down here compared to the 2 that are up here.
Yeah. And so you brush them at night, part of your nighttime routine?
So part of our nighttime routine is I take him into the bedroom. He used to take a whole bunch of meds because that's what the doctor needed him to do. We've reduced that. He doesn't take his heartburn medication, the spitting up and stuff, because he hasn't been doing that a lot. But we still do the vitamin D because he doesn't go outside a lot. And we occasionally still do the gas drops depending on if he's had beans or not, because if he's had beans, he's really gassy. Tylenol occasionally if he's really fussy and we think it's his teeth. And then after that, we brush his teeth and we do the noise, so he'll actually let us brush his teeth because he finds it fun. So it's the blah, 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 blah. So when you brush his teeth, he can make that noise with the toothbrush. So top first, they scrub a little bit, and then the bottom last because it takes longer because there's 3 of them. I try to get his gums, but he hates when you push it out like the back of his mouth. So. But we'll work on it. And then
He hates having his nose sucked.
oh, he hates having his nose sucked. He hates it. It's like death incarnate. I put him on the changing table, and that's what he thinks I'm doing, is going to suck his nose. So when I don't suck his nose, he's like, oh, okay, we can do this. This is fine.
Yeah. So sometimes when you put him on the changing table, you got to be a little fun with him. Kind of rub his stomach, tickle him a little bit. And he usually, if he's feeling a little anxious or upset, will calm down. Yeah.
Sometimes. Other times it's like, all right, you're just going to fight me the whole time. That's great. Let's do this. But that's kids for you. So.
Yeah, so he is crawling everywhere. He's been crawling since 6 months. I'm sure somewhere in the videos, somewhat of what we've been doing is as we do videos, like if we're videoing him, we might give some updates of where he's at. And that's kind of how we've been rolling. I don't know how many of those have, been posted versus not. I don't think we posted his 9-month pediatrician update, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. But as far as crawling, he's been crawling since about 6 months. He's very proficient at it now. He's all over the place. If you don't watch him for like 10 seconds,
He's in a different room.
he's in a different room, or he's down the hallway, or he's playing in the dog water. He's still kind of doing that.
So yeah, we've been telling Nana and Oma and Opa that if there's something that he's not supposed to be doing, you tell him no, because he knows the word no. He'll pause and he'll look at you, because he'll wait and see if you're gonna come over and tell him no, like it's no, or if it's a no, don't do that as you sit there on your phone. So Nana has problems with it. She says that she has to be on top of him all day long. Oma and Opa say that they're pretty good about keeping him away from that stuff. They don't have as many issues. They still have, the test his limits moments, but other than that, he's pretty good. But whenever he's with us, he does it like once, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, it's mom and dad."
Yeah, he pushes his limits with the grandparents. Is basically what he does.
He figures out what he can get away with the grandparents, and you figure it out really quickly that which grandparents let him get away with what. So,
yeah. Well, and we have some movies over here, some DVDs, some VHSs, and he loves to get in there, pull them out. One of the movies, probably a week or two ago, he was like chewing on it, trying to rip the case out of it. Of course, I got on him for that. He also, down in the bottom of this bookcase, we have games. He will get in the games. He'll start pulling them out. Of course, again, you tell him no, and he kind of looks at you, and then you have to like reinforce it and tell him. What I've been doing is telling him, put it back, and I've been trying to teach him to kind of put it back. So every once in a while he might be like
I haven't actually done that, so that's good that you're doing that. But when he's not listening, when he doesn't listen to the no, we've been doing a light flick on his hand. So it's like a tap, and then it's a harder and harder as it goes, so that way he understands that, by the end of this you're gonna get flicked on your hand if you don't do what you're supposed to be doing. And it's not, like I said, it's not a hard flick. It's just hey, it's like an attention grabber for like just like dogs, depending on how you train them. Treats, choke collars,
yeah, we don't
vibrate.
choke our kid, though.
No, I'm using the example of attention grabbing. So the dogs, you use a choke collar, electric collar, vibrate collar, treats,
So you give a command and then you snap, you snap the collar, and you don't drag them or actually choke them. You snap it just to kind of, hey,
we're trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
The same thing with the flicking, because he knows, but he's not paying attention to you. He's like, are you ignoring me?
And sometimes if you are ignoring him and not paying attention to him, that's when he will try and get in the dog bowl, the dog water bowl, or try and get to the games. And sometimes he's so slick, he will go, because he's so fun and playful all the time, so happy, he will he'll go into the kitchen, and on the other side of the island, you can't really see him from the living room, so he will run from the kitchen over to the bowl, kind of like he's being chased, which he really likes to be chased, and he really likes to chase you, which is a little game that we've been doing with him.
That's been fun.
So he'll do that, and then obviously gives it away that he's doing something, he's onto something, and he'll head to the bowl. Or he'll head to the dog toys, which are right next to the bowl, and start playing with them, which is fine if he's playing with the dog toys, but we just don't want him baptizing himself in the water, or worse yet, drowning himself, because he really does like water and bath time. He loves it. And I think some of it is he just doesn't understand that,
these are separate things.
These are separate things. He can, sometimes we'll sprinkle water on him, and he loves it. Like if he's underneath the sink, we'll just sprinkle water on him, and he laughs,
laughing.
And he's excited about that. And he loves bath time so much that he will go into the bathroom, he'll stand up next to the bathtub, and he'll dance a little bit, and he'll even grab some of the toys and throw them into the bathtub as if he's
gonna get in the bath,
doing his bath time routine.
So his bath time, so since we're leading into that, he's been having a lot of fun in bath time. He likes to, so what I try to do is I make sure that we wash him first. So we scrub in his head, his body, his legs, his arms, his feet, you wash him up. And then I dump water on his head and go, all right, free time. So then he goes and has a blast playing in the water. He crawls around in the water. He throws his toys. He picks up the toy, throws it out of the bathtub, waiting for you to throw it back in so that way he can go get it and then bring it back to you so you can throw it again. So I told Michael that we'll probably need more bath toys because he's getting bored with the ones that we've got. We have only got like 4 or 5 of them. I've been trying to use the squeaky toy ones or the suck the water in, push the water out, but they get moldy if you don't clean them out. So I've been trying to avoid using those as much as possible. So we're gonna have to look at some new bath toys. But otherwise, he loves bath time. He enjoys it a lot. He'll play differently with each of us. So he'll splash like crazy with Michael, and I mean splash. It's water everywhere. And then he likes to bring the toys to me to fetch the toys. So I don't know what else with the bath time. But when he's done, he knows that the only time that if you stand up in the bathtub, because that's the number 1 rule, no standing in the bathtub. If it's bath time, you sit or you crawl. So if he stands, he knows we'll give him 3 strikes, and then we're done and we're getting out of the bath. So when he's done, he usually stands up and looks at you and is like, okay, I'm ready, which is nice. Because he's like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to be in the bath anymore.
Yeah.
So
one of the more recent developments is because he likes to crawl so much and he's always like in the kitchen or at your feet, and he always wants to be picked up and kind of in the action too. If you're walking around and you're talking or chatting, like when Heather was here helping us clean the house because of my recovery with my surgery. He wants to be in the action, so he'll get really upset if you're not picking him up necessarily just to be in the action, or if you're in a different part of the room sometimes he'll get a little upset with that. So sometimes he's at your feet, like he's starting to put his hands up. That's kind of one of the more recent things that's kind of happened within the last week to a couple days. He's putting his hands up and he's starting to kind of do this. So we're kind of trying to teach him that, when he wants up, that's, kind of the signal to want up. And then we have to remember not to be enablers too of that behavior. And, we don't want him to feel like he's not getting the attention that he needs or deserves. So the emotional support part of it, right? But we also don't want him to become exceptionally needy. That's our goals. Of course, again, he wins one over with the grandparents. So sometimes what we'll do as a timeout, we'll put him in his walker, which is not really a timeout. I mean, he loved the walker, before he started to crawl. But now that he loves to crawl, he loves to be on the move, he loves to be everywhere. He tends to get pretty upset if you put him in the walker. Not all the time. Yesterday or the day before, we put him in the walker, and he kind of entertained himself again by walking around it and playing with the toys and such that are on it. But there was one day last week where he had a complete and utter meltdown, and I thought about it, and I went, what if I grabbed a spray bottle? That video is posted, and I didn't shoot him in the face or anything like that. I shot right next to him just to kind of mist him, and he just instantly went from complete meltdown to just hysterical laughing. So we found a little trick there. If he's having a meltdown or something like that, you can spray him with water because he loves water, and it'll just change his whole mood and behavior. So we'll see how long that lasts, right? Because it avoids you losing your temper or getting mad. Not that that I recall having ever done that. But I know that he's gonna be a toddler soon, so it's gonna be no time before that starts to happen, and he really starts to test your patience. Maybe if we continue down this road, we could just spray him with water, and that'll change his mood. But we'll see how that goes. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
No. Do you want to check and make sure it's still recording? Because your phone likes to do that.
I mean, I could check. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Because we've recorded a whole thing once and then it stopped.
Yeah. So he's a big foodie.
Oh my god, he loves food. So if you give him bland yogurt or bland oatmeal or bland applesauce or, you know, the food that we bought him to quickly feed him, he'll eat it. But if he notices that you're eating something completely different than what he's eating, he will scream at you until you feed it to him. He also will push away his food that you're feeding him if it's different than what you're eating. So the other day, Michael was feeding him mandarin oranges, and he shoved the mandarin oranges away because he wanted Michael's soup, which was chicken gnocchi, which was fine for him to eat. We're not used to doing that yet, so now we are. So every meal we make, if I can make him a side dish, I make him a side dish. So this morning, I made Michael a baked potato, egg, bacon, cheese breakfast thing. And so because of that, I had to dig out the potato to make the egg. And so I put the potato on the side, threw a little egg in it, threw a little bacon in it, mashed it up, mixed it up, heated it up, gave it to the baby, and he was a happy dandy baby. But yeah, now we've been feeding him all the food that we've been eating, unless it has like a bite to it, like a spicy bite. Even like sweets and stuff, we still give it to him so he can see what he likes versus what he doesn't like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like she said, if it's spicy, we haven't been giving it to him. If it's super sweet or if it has chocolate in it, we haven't. But all around, like, you know, we were cleared by our pediatrician months ago that it's okay for him to pretty much eat everything under the sun, and it's important to kind of move through the motions of different types of foods. For one, to get him used to it, see if he likes it, but two, to see if he has any allergies to it. If he does have allergies to it, what you can do is, to prevent it from being a problem in the future, you can give it to him in moderation over the next
like a pinch
couple of years, and he should develop a tolerance for it. So one example is peanut butter. Peanuts, for example, tend to be an issue in children, right? Tends to be a big allergy, very dangerous for some. And some of that, not all of it, but some of that is because they may not have been exposed to it growing up to know that either they had an allergy or one that they could develop a tolerance for it. At least this is what the pediatrician is saying based upon recent research he was saying. So starting young, starting at 6 months, going up, we've given him everything, and he's loved everything that we've pretty much given him, with one exception: the sweet potatoes that you made. He did not like those at all.
I handmade those, so I don't doubt that they weren't very good either, so it's fine.
But other than that, he absolutely loves peanut butter. You can put peanut butter in anything and he'll eat it. So was it the rice that he was trying to eat the other night, and he was just like, he likes to have flavor towards the night. He does
not like boring food, so we gave him rice and he was not happy. So I added like some egg roll mixture inside of it, and he was okay, but he was having a rough night anyway, so he was really tired because he didn't get a really good nap that night. So he was just, when he's really tired and really hungry, it's just easier to give him like yogurt or applesauce or whatever, because he doesn't have to chew it, he just has to swallow it. It gets the food in his system, and then he can go lay down and go to bed. Versus like when he's like not tired and he's really hungry, he'll just eat everything under the sun. And he won't fuss about it. He'll just yell at you and let you know that he wants more.
Yeah. And he tends to only get really upset and crabby and throw a fit, except for recent developments with being picked up. Tends to be his new one.
His new one.
Is when he's either hungry or tired. And the hungriness is either he's hungry or he sees you eating something, or something is around. Like if you have something that he thinks is food, like even if you have a bowl, then he could potentially have a meltdown on you and get upset. But other than that, those 2 things, or those 3 things, We don't really have very many issues with him. He tends to be very independent, plays by himself. When you're holding him, he does pretty well. Lately, he's been really wanting to hit the floor. If you're not playing with him, or if he's not in the mood for cuddling, he wants to hit the floor and he wants to move. He wants to play with the dogs. He wants to play with dog toys. He wants to play with his toys. He wants to play with dog water.
And like Michael said earlier, he loves being in the action. So if I'm in the kitchen and we're the only ones up right now because Michael's asleep, and I'm trying to make breakfast, he wants to be in the action. So he wants me to hold him or hang out with him while I'm in the kitchen doing stuff, and it's really hard. So when you have two people, it's nice because then when someone's over in the living room with him, he's fine. He'll play over there, have a blast, even though there's someone in the kitchen. It just depends on who he wants to hang out with and when and how he's feeling. So usually when he comes to me, it's his last like hurrah of like, I don't want to play. I want my mom kind of thing. But when I'm sitting over there hanging out with him and people are in the kitchen, he's fine. But when I'm in the kitchen and other people are in there with him, it depends on what he's wanting. But otherwise, as long as he's with someone, he's usually pretty good. He doesn't even need you to play with him. He just needs you to be in the vicinity, like quality time kind of thing.
Yeah. So when he's getting into things and playing, one of the things we have is this holiday display over here. We kind of moved it next to our banister, and we have it decorated right now for St. Patrick's Day, so there is some green garland. One thing is he's really wanting to play with the display. I mean, it's all messed up because even if you fix it, it's messed up within 10 minutes because he's back over there trying to play with the shamrocks and the hats and the signs and etc. And he's got those all over the house. But he really likes to play with the garland, and so we have to actually put that up because he'll get it and it's small enough that he'll eat it, and he loves to eat everything that he can or chew on things because he is teething. He is always hungry, like we said. And the other day, probably maybe 2 weeks ago, he did eat some garland, and so we did have to, we tried to sweep it out and it wasn't, so we had to pat him on the back. We weren't panicking about it. It was
we just needed to get it out of his mouth, and
he wasn't choking.
It wasn't a choking. It was a coughing.
He was
fit
coughing, and
because it was stuck like right in that spot where you would get tickles and stuff. So it was hard. So Michael held him while I got underneath him to pull the garland out of his mouth.
Yeah.
So we lifted the garland up higher so he would stop playing with it, and then he's actually been doing more than just the garland. So the cat's like playing with the rugs on our floor, and there's a rug that has slowly been falling apart. And so there's pieces of carpet rug around the floor, and he finds those and puts them in his mouth. So I found like 5 of them in his mouth and 2 of them at the same time. So I'm like having to clear his stupid mouth out of little pieces of rug. Like yarn almost, like tiny little pieces of yarn, but he can't swallow it because it's carpet, but he chews on it, so it's like, oh my god, it's been great. It's great having a little child shoving things in your mouth, but it's nice though because we've always really had a clean-ish house. We don't like having things on the floor. We don't like, because it's just, I don't know, it's just how we are. So when the things that he finds are just small enough where it's something that we don't see or recognize because it's so small. So, but he finds it and we clean it up. So
yeah. So some of the words that he's saying right now is, hey there. And he was saying hey, now it's hey there. And he's starting to kind of wave, like hey there. And it's super cute, and I've been working on it since it's just, one of the things is as things evolve, you just kind of continue to work on it, so you can't really force it. Like we've been trying to force mama, it ain't happening, so it's just probably going to happen naturally after a lot of repetition, mama. But he's been saying dada, that's been his first word for Probably about 3 months now.
And he refers to both of us as Dada. It's not like I'm Mama and he's Dada. It's Dada.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the problem that we're running into.
Yeah.
But it's not a big deal because I at least know that he's trying. He was wanting me.
Yeah.
I just give him sass back so he knows it's in his brain for future. It's like, well, Dada's over there. I'm not Dada.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of gets that sometime in the future where his brain clicks and goes, oh, she's not Dada.
Yeah. So hey, hi, hey there, Dada.
I love you.
He tries to say I love you, but it's not quite there. You can't really say love, you know. It's a
babble.
It's a babble, but it's usually after you say I love you to him, he'll repeat it back to you, which is super cute. So those are just some of the things that we're working on. And of course, a lot of positive reinforcement when he's doing something, at least I do. And sometimes, like your parents will, like the other day, he was walking and I was able to get him to walk just with one finger and one hand. So he was kind of just walking, and we just kind of went from the door to the coffee table. And then once we did that, I was like, yay, awesome. And, you know, I think it was your dad that was like, well, he's been walking like that. I was like, no, he did it one hand. He did it one hand. You know, so it's like just trying to be positive and positive reinforcement all the time. Saying, I love you, you're the best person, you're so smart. Just, I think that's all important, especially in these early days. So just kind of building off of that. He has been couch surfing a lot. He can go from the couch to the coffee table. He can go around the coffee table. He can get to the couch and crawl across the couch. He can move across cabinets. He's really only had 3 times that I'm aware of where he stood without any assistance. The last time I'm aware, I was holding his hands, and then I think Heather was going out, so he diverted his attention and I let go. And he was just standing there. And then as soon as he turned his head and realized, oh, I gotta hit the floor. So it's like a confidence thing, really. He's got really good leg strength. That's what the pediatrician said. And he's almost there. It's just, like I said, I think it's more of a confidence thing, maybe a little bit of a balance thing.
When I got him to do it, because I got him to do it once too, I was standing over beside the stairs by the gates in the counter, the corner counter, and I was holding his fingers, because his hands were holding my fingers, sorry, and I had his binky, his dragon binky, and so I handed it to him, and he let go of my hands to grab the binky, and he stood there for a minute holding onto the binky. Then he realized that no one was holding him, so he sat down. So that was my time when he did it. So as the third one, I don't remember what the third one was.
It was, so I remember he was either coming down from the chair or trying to come up on the chair, and he stood up, and he was unassisted, and I think he was coming down, and he stood up, and I saw that. So he's there. It's a matter of time. Obviously we had hoped that it would have been a little sooner, but we are on his own development schedule, right? And we gotta let him develop on his own as long as we're there and helping him, because, you know, there has been children that have taken longer to develop, and then it delays everything else. And so we don't want that with him. We want him to keep kind of on a routine, on a schedule, continuing to develop, continuing to be super smart at things. Just all around.
And there's also kids that develop faster. So there's people who come in and they're like, oh, my child started this when they were this age. And I'm like, that's good for them. But every child develops differently. So right now, Bellamy he's not very good at the pinching yet.
Yeah.
He'll scoop.
And he can grab.
And he'll grab, but he's not there with the pinching. So I've been trying to find things online to work with that that's not related to food. Because everybody's like, oh, just let him grab food. And I'm like, that's not helping me.
just grabbed
He
it and put it in.
shoves in his mouth. So
Yeah.
I'll find more stuff for that. But that's the only thing that I have to work on developmentally wise.
Yeah.
So
lately, he does really good with naps. He's still sleeping through the night, so that's been. I mean, we've had that development of about 2 or 3 weeks. And he's been sleeping through the night, which has been really good. Routines help.
It was when the pediatrician says he can start sleeping through the nights as soon as he hits this weight. And once he hit that weight, we verified and we let him sleep through the night. I stopped waking him up and we just let him sleep. So he's been, so his nighttime sleeping has been increasing hourly. So now he sleeps from 8 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock in the morning, and those fluctuate. It's not like an exact science, obviously, because there are nights where we're like, oh, I want to keep him up a little bit later, take some pictures, or there's a morning where, oh crap, we have an appointment we have to go to, so we have to wake him up earlier to go do that. But usually he sleeps from 8 to 8, which has been fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and you can put him down for a nap for the most part, and he'll just go right to sleep. He has this little draft blanket.
Thank you, Bree and Daisha.
So we'll give him his binky, or he'll grab his binky. He'll find his binky, and we'll give him the draft blanket. He'll roll over, stick his butt in the air, and put his face into the mattress and go to sleep. And so he would fight us, I think, a little bit in the beginning, probably for the first few months at taking naps. But he doesn't really do it anymore. It
also helped that we started talking to the grandparents about it. And I was like, you need to put him down in the crib with a binky and a blanket, not a blanket, or a sleep sack, depending on his age. And just close the door and leave him alone. You need to just put him down. And so the issue came in where one of the grandparents was like, oh, I just wanted to hold them for so long because they're only so little for so long. And we understand that. We get it. But at that point in time, if he didn't get his really good hour to 2 hour naps, he'd get a 30-minute nap. He was a
monster.
He was a monster when I got home. I wouldn't get the time that I got. So I only get so much time with him during the day. I get from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then I get from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And most of that time is feeding him a bottle and giving him a bath and changing him in his clothes. So it's not a lot of us time. So I told them, I was like, you need to put him down for his nap so that way I get time with him. You guys get all day with him from 8:30 to 6:30. You get time with him. So you have to put him down for his naps. So they started doing that, thankfully, without fighting us on it. And there's been days where they were like, hey, he did not want to take a really long nap today. It was a 30-minute napper. I'm sorry. Which is cool. It's fine. Happens. It's not like I care. But it was a regular thing was the issue. So now that we're putting him down for 2 naps a day, on a consistent time frame, he's been so much better. He hasn't been a horrible little monster. Yeah. He's been way better. But yeah, whenever you give him, if you give him his giraffe first before the binky, he'll stick his fingers in his mouth. So you have to make sure that he has his binky and his giraffe, otherwise his fingers are in his mouth.
Yeah.
So,
and if he is having a meltdown and you decide, okay, I think it's time for a nap, as soon as you put him in the crib and give him his binky, he'll start to calm down, and then either he'll find his giraffe or you'll give him his giraffe, and that's that. The other day, I was playing with him pretty hard in the room, and he got so tired that he actually went and reached into the crib through the holes, pulled his giraffe out, and then turned around and hit the floor, and he was out. And it was the funniest, cutest thing ever. So I just grabbed a regular blanket and kind of put it over him. He has some really soft blankets that he really likes. And he really likes the blankets when he's put in the car seat. One other thing that we've kind of noticed is that he gets shy around strangers. just a little bit more reserved. During his initial months, I mean, his late, I would say, is December, because even like Santa Claus, he was very energetic, very cheerful, very happy around anybody and everybody. Like, you could pass him around and he was happy. You can give him to Santa Claus and he does a
He
great job.
He didn't like break down and cry. He just stared at him and then looked at us like, "What are you doing?"
But
he
then
didn't
got a
even-
little excited at some point. But now he's very shy around strangers. So and I read online that tends to be common around that 9, especially the 9-month, 10-month age, and then it's only going to continue. So obviously we still keep him socialized, but he knows who familiar faces are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when we had friends over for Michael's party on Saturday and we were passing the baby around, he would not let go of me. So he was attached to me or Michael or Oma and Opa. And then occasionally if someone else was around, so like I think Sammy and Rob and Rachel and Daniel have been around a lot more often. And so he's been about maybe going to them if need be. So like, I think I was bringing him out from a nap and he was groggy and tired and clinging to me. And so I brought him out to hand him over to Miranda because she was loving on him all night. But he was not having it. He was like, nope, and he gripped me harder. And so then I don't know if it was Opa or if it was Sammy or somebody, but somebody came up and they were like, want me? And he was like, okay, I'll go to you. But not like Miranda or Rachel or Damari. It took a little more effort for us to get him to go to them. But I mean, he's been doing really well. It's as long as people come around and we pass him around and let him be held by people, I think he'll be okay. So,
well, did you have anything else that you wanted to say or talk about?
His first birthday's coming up fast. I don't know if there's anything else I can think of. I guess when he starts crawling, we'll let you know. When he starts walking, we'll let you know. And he loves to dance.
Oh, yeah. He's a big dancer. He's a
sings.
singer.
Yeah, he kind of sings.
He sings or hums or...
So he's obviously not a very good singer because, you can't teach them like, hey, octave, or hey, this is, right? But whenever we're listening to music in the car, you can hear him like kind of singing. He's like, he rises his voice and he lowers his voice, but not with the music. But yeah, he loves to sing and he loves to dance. So Michael's phone goes off with a little tune on it and he shakes his little butt. Like, he loves to dance. Stala has been awesome with him. Because he's been crawling everywhere and everything. And Stala likes laying in the middle of the floor in the way, So he crawls on top of her to get over her. And she just lays there and she's like, oh, why are you doing this to me? And I always tell her, I'm like, well, Stala, you're the one that's in the middle of the floor. If you would have laid on your dog bed, you would have been fine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So she just takes it. Elpis does not do well with him. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say doesn't do well. He doesn't do as well as I anticipated. I thought he was going to be the baby dog, not Stala. Michael thought Stala was going to be the baby dog. Obviously, he was right on that one. Because every time the baby comes near Elpis, he shoots up and runs off. Cats do really well with him. He does really well with the cats. We've been working on nice hands, so he's been doing really well with that. Especially since, babies like to grab. And so we're like, no, nice hands, you pet, you don't grab.
Grab Espresso's tail.
We're okay with that because
Or Einstein. He'll walk up and just grab Einstein.
With Espresso, it's fine. Espresso gets grumpy.
He plays ball with Einstein and laughs.
Oh my god, that's so fun.
I have not got that video up yet, but that's just the cutest thing ever in the world.
We just recently, because Elpis loves to play with balls just like Einstein does, so they'll play together. But Einstein will play with with the kids. So the babies will throw the balls, and Einstein will go get it and bring it back. And then he'll play with the ball for a minute in front of them, and they'll laugh at him. And then he'll let it go, and they'll grab the ball and throw it again. And then he'll go after it. And the babies will occasionally go after the ball too. So it's like a chase game. Oh my god, so freaking cute. I said, why can't Stala do that? Or help us at least. But yeah, he does well with all the animals, which is good. All the he's been really interested in smaller kids or babies. He doesn't know how to react with them, but his cousin Malachi comes over, and he's like with Brianna's baby, Sylvie. He didn't understand either, so he was grabbing her, and we're like, no, nice hands. So then he would kind of pet her like an animal, but we're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to get you to understand that they're a baby. They're just a couple months younger than you. They're just you, just smaller.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can't think of anything else.
All right. Well, that's the 10-month update for right now. Sorry it went so long, but we did have quite a bit to cover. Hopefully we can remember to do another one. If not, like I said, they are kind of impromptu as we're doing videos. We might interject and say some things while videoing him doing something. But anyways, thank you all, and have a good day.